Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Coming to you in my pajamas this time because the video with me in my bathrobe somehow got tons more views than normal. So I figured, why put on makeup? I'll just come to you guys in my pajamas tonight. This is our Simple Abundance year. We're following along with Sarah Bon Bronick's 2019 edition of Simple Abundance. And as you know, since I had read the 1990s edition, the Simple Abundance, a Daybook of Comfort and Joy version that I've had for 20 plus years, I do sometimes pull from it. And when I was reading over the May Joyful Simplicities to welcome us all to the month of May, there is one in there where Sarah encourages us to learn about the ancient Chinese art of Feng Shui. So I figured I'd dig out some stuff, and I did a little bit of research because I didn't know what that move 27 items part of her entry was. Did you guys know about that? I think there was one comment that sounded like it was something familiar to that person. I will say first off, I am not a Feng Shui expert. I find Feng Shui in some respects to be complicated because there is a whole energy map called a bagua that it helps you figure out the various corners and directions and elements and everything. And I'm not going to be going into detail on that. I'm just going to be sharing some things that I've known for a long time just in dabbling in Feng Shui. And you'll remember when I did my office tour that I talked about various parts of the desk being like one for love and one for prosperity. And I've done other things throughout the house, like if I know that a corner is a particular corner, then I might put like a gemstone there or such and such. I'm not going to go into great detail, but I just thought I would share a few things about it in case it's something new to you, and then you can take this further on your own and do more of an investigation. So what is Feng Shui? So it is balancing out of the elements, which in the art of Feng Shui, the elements are wood, fire, earth, water, and metal. And actually the word Feng Shui means wind and water. So apparently when those elements are mixed together, then that is supposed to be very strong. And the chi, you know, when you hear of like Tai Chi, and you've probably heard that chi before, it's universal energy is really what that means. So it's like the flow of all these elements, right? I may be butchering this, forgive me, but so Feng Shui is said to balance energy and be beneficial for health, happiness, and prosperity. So there's all different things that you can do. Remember my lucky cat? You might have seen her when I did my office tour. There are even things in Feng Shui, like statuary and things like that, that they believe are a part of it. And when I say they, I should just say anybody that's following the art of Feng Shui. They may be really into placing certain like dragons and Buddhas, and there's other statues that you'll see that are in there. But the lucky cat is definitely a prosperity thing, and one of my friends got me that in Japan when she was over there. And I have a lucky cat in my office, in my prosperity corner of my desk, and she's been working hard. So I'm just going to share a couple of things that I have always remembered throughout the years as far as certain things in certain rooms. Like for some reason, I always remember the bathroom things. And I am obsessive about making sure that the toilet seat is always closed. In fact, when you flush the toilet, just for, not even for Feng Shui, but for germs, you should never flush the toilet with the toilet seat up. It's getting, oh, Annabelle just stole something off the couch. it's getting, when you flush the toilet with the toilet seat up, all the germs and everything are going on to everything. They've done studies of this. And when people come to my house and they don't flush the toilet with this toilet seat closed, I sort of make a comment about it. Because I don't like to think about there being like droplets of stuff all over the walls and towels and stuff that are around. So anyway, that's not a feng shui thing. That's an OCD thing of mine. But anyway, the bathroom, because there's water in there, and you don't want your prosperity to go down the toilet or the drain, right? You want to keep the toilet seat closed, and you always want to have the bathroom door closed. I'm pretty anal about that. I have 2 bathrooms, and I am really always making sure they're closed. And also, if you have any sort of a leak with water, like if your faucet's leaky or your pipes are leaking or something like that, you want to fix that immediately, because that's, again, the water is supposed to be symbolizing the prosperity. So you don't want that to be like, leaking out and you're losing that. And then also, I suppose if you think about like your water bill, that it would be costing you more money too. So starting at the front of your house, and some of these things, like if you rent like I do, it's not like you can change your front door to be made out of wood, because there are certain things like that I'm not going to go into huge detail, but I guess a wooden door is apparently the preferred one because it brings in that element. Although metal is an element too, but whenever you hear about the front door, they're always talking about it being wood, but mine is not wood, and I don't think many people have wood doors anymore at this point. But a couple things about the front door, and when you're walking up to it, you want to make sure that the path is clear and that there's nothing like you're going to be tripping or anything, and keeping it swept and everything. And you want to make sure the door opens inwards, which I think is most building setups are like that now. So opening inward, and then making sure that it can open comfortably. There's not something like behind it. That should be, actually that's the case with most doors into every room. You want to make sure the door can open freely. And also, so feng shui is another way. I just noticed one thing I wrote down. It's the art of placement. So we've been talking so much this month about clearing out clutter. And so when you walk into the front door, you want to make sure that all the clutter's gone. So there's not, like I told you about my shoes being, sometimes like my shoes get out of control. You don't want to have tons of shoes there. You want to have like a closet nearby or cubbies or something, so that there's just not a lot of stuff. Like, this is nothing I really thought about as far as feng shui. It was just more of like something I thought would be nice. But I have a bowl where when I come into the house, my keys go in there, my sunglasses are in there and stuff. So like you want to have a place for everything. So it's not just like you walk in and like stuff gets thrown everywhere. So that's really important. So throughout the house, like in the living room, some other things that are recommended are having doubles of things. So you may have heard before about in the bedroom how you want to have a bedside table on both sides of the bed and make sure that you can walk around the bed. Like don't have it up against one wall, because the bedroom is really like indicative of your relationship. And then as far as like the other rooms, having double things. So like in the living room, having 2 matching seats. And in the living room, it's advised that you set it up so that there's like a flow of what would be conversation or gathering in that room. I really think she took that thing she stole and she brought it under the couch. Little stinker. She steals my pens and stuff. I actually had some postage stamps like in a little roll. She had them in her mouth, and I'm pretty sure she's under there playing. Anyway, again, trying to make a statement here in every video. That's my cat. And by the way, I wrote down one other thing too, that having a pet is a really good feng shui, because it keeps the energy flowing, and that's what you're really trying to do with all this stuff, is to keep the energy flowing positively. So if you have an animal, like Annabelle's like running around in each, well, she doesn't go into the bathrooms because they're closed unless I'm in one of them. She likes to come in with me, but she, she's constantly like moving back and forth and moving the energy. So she's helping with the feng shui. Back to the bedroom. You want to have some kind of a solid headboard. It's supposed to be advisable. Always closing your closet doors. Again, having some symmetry and trying to have as many natural and organic elements to it as you can. One thing, I don't like this one. This says nothing under the bed, but I did read another source that said it's okay if things are in storage totes. It's just that you shouldn't be having like, junk stored under there. And I will tell you too, I don't do this anymore, but years ago, and I told you guys about my journals where I used to have Dear Diary journals all the way back to 6th grade. I used to store them. I had a platform bed at one point that had drawers under it, and I used to store them underneath my bed. I had someone tell me that was the worst thing I could ever do because it was like I was basically like sleeping on all that old stuff, So anyway, now under my bed, I actually I have 2 extra like folding chairs. I have those. So that would be like the only clutter. And then I have extra bedding, but it is in storage totes. So it could be better organized, but it's not just like junk under there. But I consider every little spot a storage area in my house. I even have something underneath my couch too, because I just don't have a ton of closet space in the place that I live now. So when I first was reading the thing about nothing under the bed, I was like, no, I'm not getting rid of all that. But I guess if it's organized, it's okay. And then you'll hear a lot of stuff when you look into feng shui about the placement of the bed in your room. And this is one thing that I always remember, because you don't want to have your bed apparently exactly like, so say your door is right here. You don't want to have the foot of your bed facing it exactly, because I didn't find it again this time, but I feel like it's like the coffin position or something. They have a name for it. It's just really bad luck. So you want to have it like, if this is the door, you want to be sort of like diagonal. I guess you don't really want to be sideways. They say like you do want to be looking at it so that you can see it well, but just not be exactly like that, because I guess that's supposed to be really bad luck. I always remember that. The kitchen is said to be the heart of the home. And again, you probably don't have the option to redo your whole kitchen, but there's supposed to be a triangle basically between the stove, the fridge, and the sink. I think that's almost a pretty common setup for builders, and they probably are not doing anything related to feng shui, but just the fact that they're trying to make it so that it's functional. Also, again, with the clutter, no clutter and stuff all over the countertops. You can have flowers and you can have a basket of fruit, which are both going to be symbols of abundance, health, and wealth. So, oh, and then also one thing that I heard was that knives are supposed to be out of sight. And I have one of those butcher block things. You can't really see the knife part of it. You can see the handles, but apparently because they are, knives can bring about discomfort. I have never heard that one. I don't know if I'm going to take that thing off, but like they were saying you don't really want to have them like displayed, so that they're just all like lined up and so you can see them all. Again, how much are you going to really change your whole life to try to accommodate some of these things? Maybe you are a major cook and you like to have all your knives out. I don't know. Some of these things you'll have to decide on whether it's really functional or not. I mentioned my office, and you may remember when I did my tour of it that I have 2 desks and it's like in an L shape. But I do have it set up because I have over the years, I've had now 3 different home offices because I've lived in a couple of different places, and I have always made sure that my office is set up in the ideal way, as far as like there's this power position that they say that you should have the way that you're sitting in the room so that you can see the door and that you have a wall right behind you. And so while it might seem like you want to be facing a wall or something, like just for the aesthetics of the room, it's not advisable to be facing the wall because it's apparently going to cause challenges and block the chi flow, you know. Hiding cords, reducing clutter. I guess out of every room in the house, the office or the room where you might do some work like that is most tied to abundance. And what else? Oh, just some other things outside of like specifics in rooms, but fountains are supposed to be really good to just get the energy flowing. And oh, back to the moving 27 objects. So yeah, so 27, I guess, is considered to be a sacred number. And it's a number that if you take it out to numerology, it becomes a 9, and that is apparently a heavenly realm sort of number. So that was something new to me as well. But so we're encouraged to move 27 items that haven't been moved in a year. And it's supposed to really work, like as far as like getting things going in your house. I wonder now, with a lot of people that have been home and doing a lot of organizing and purging and moving things around, if that will just automatically help them. Okay, a couple other things. No electronics in the bedroom. If you have, mirrors are actually good in some respects, but if you have a mirror in the bedroom, you also don't want it to be in a way that you would be seeing it in the bed, like when you're in it. So like I have a mirror in my bedroom, but you can't see it unless you get up and walk to another part of the room. So it's good Feng Shui. I guess if you have a mirror in your room, in your bedroom, that can be seen from the bed, it's bad luck in your relationship. It's sort of like bringing a third party or voyeurism into your relationship. And let's see. Oh, some other suggestions. Taking off shoes when you come into the house so that you're not bringing the energy or necessarily dirt from outside and germs in. Oh, add shapes into every room in some way. Each of the shapes represents the various elements. And then this is another reason why I think Feng Shui is pretty complicated, but apparently every year there are changes as well. So you know how there's in the Chinese year calendar, there's like this year is 2020 and it's the year of the rat. So whenever the wheel of the year changes like that, then there's also changes related to placements and things. So you really have to work with an expert if you're wanting to get everything just perfectly right. A couple of other things: hide all trash cans. And then if you were working with a professional, they could tell you if the placement of the trash can was in a bad spot. Like if you were trying to attract love and maybe you had the trash can in your love area, then maybe you're just going to attract trash, you know. Lighting is very important as well. And, you know, maybe you want to have more of like a soothing light in the bedroom, or you want to have a brighter light. Like, yes, there's lights like that are more energy efficient and all that, so no judgment, but it will tell you I really like the full spectrum lights. I feel like, I don't think I officially have seasonal affective disorder, but I do feel like before I started using the full spectrum lights that I did feel a little more down. So it's more of like it mirrors more of like a sunlight. It doesn't give off any UV rays or anything like that. Although there are lights that you can get like that give you some of the ultraviolet. But anyway, lighting is important. Air quality and flow is important as well. So you may need an air purifier. You may want to open the windows up occasionally and get the air going through the house. And one thing I read that made me laugh And I thought about it earlier and I didn't do anything about it before I even read this, but if you have clocks that are broken or have stopped because the batteries ran out, you want to fix that immediately. I have had one out in the bathroom. I don't know, it's got to be like a month. And I keep going, oh, you got to put the new battery in, and I just haven't done it. And then tonight after reading that, apparently it's like you're stopping time. If you, and maybe actually that is kind of indicative of what's going on right now in the world, but like you really want to fix that soon because that can block the energy. And one other thing, I'm going to have to make an effort to do this, but if you have chairs in your house that you are not normally sitting in, you want to actually go and sit in them so that they're getting used. And you know, actually, when I was looking this up, I didn't find, but I know this for sure too, that they say the same thing about the stove. Like, you should use every burner of the stove at some point. Like, don't let one of them go unused, because that's another feng shui thing. Again, this is such a hack of me just like throwing out these random things, but it's all just, in my mind, fun, and I dabble a little bit into it. I think I've said everything I plan to tell you guys. Those are some fun things. So this is a perfect tie-in with our talking about the home. And if you decide that you're going to go through each room and do a revamp, like Sarah even said, taking things off the wall, moving furniture around, and like starting fresh. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just totally emptied out a room and started over? That's a pretty cool feeling. I love decorating. I mentioned to you guys I don't want to move because I really like how I have things set up, but the one plus would be like having a brand new place to decorate. I always like that, but I don't, I feel like there's enough things, like I could get new curtains, I could do other stuff. I have enough of a list of some of the things that I would do in certain rooms before I would feel the need to totally have a fresh start. But I do love the decorating, and the feng shui part of it is just a fun little thing to bring into it. Again, you could really start to overthink it, and then you might feel like you don't want to get too obsessed, because if you don't have control over something and then you're thinking like, oh no, my bed is in the wrong way, I'm gonna have a bad relationship, like you don't want to have that thought, because apparently, and this is again why it would be good to work with a professional, is if there are things, like one of the things that you don't want to have it so that like when you open your front door that you can see all the way through to your back door, or like a slider or something. But say that was where you lived and you can't do anything about it. Well, there's apparently ways around it where you can like divert the chi or whatever. I don't know all about it, but it's a matter of like putting a plant or making the couch go. I don't know enough. So this is just a fun topic discussion. Please don't, hopefully this doesn't show up in like, searches, like educated searches where people are looking to me for a real academic description here, because this is just me sharing a few little tips from my journal that I was revisiting some fun stuff, and I have fun with it. And I like to think about things like Lucky Cat and some gemstones I have around and other choices that I've made in helping me feel like I'm making a difference in the rest of my life by moving things. So go move 27 things and think about some of these things in your house, and share in the comments if there's anything that you always think about when you're thinking about feng shui. And I didn't even get into like the colors of the rooms, and there's so many other things. Again, consult with a professional if you're going to do anything major, okay? Thanks for watching. We'll continue on our Simple Abundance path with more of our home entries for the month of May 2020. Stick around. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I always appreciate your comments and likes. So thanks so much. I will see you next time. I'm going to bed soon. So good night.